The risky plan, the alley grew darker as the human led the alien girl farther from the crowded market. Shadows stretched along the walls, twisting and turning with every flicker of the neon lights. The girl held her toy close, and even though she clutched the medicine tightly, her eyes were still full of worry. "Are we going to be safe?" she asked quietly, her small voice almost lost in the echo of the empty street. The human crouched slightly to look at her. "I will make sure no one hurts you," he said. "But we have to be careful." He glanced back toward the market, watching the shadows of the watchers lingering. Those who had noticed her leaving now seemed interested, curious, maybe even suspicious. He knew that if anyone followed them to the hidden alley, they could get into serious trouble. The human thought fast, remembering the supply room in the clinic. He knew it was dangerous to go back there openly, and yet the girl needed more than just the small pack of medicine he had taken. It was a choice between safety and the life of a small child. He took a deep breath, making a plan in his mind. Every step had to be perfect, every movement quiet. He could not afford mistakes, not here, not now. "Listen," he said to the girl. "I have a plan, but it will be risky. I need you to stay hidden while I get the rest of your medicine, okay?" The girl hesitated, her trust fragile. But she nodded, her eyes wide, silently agreeing. The human slipped into the shadows, moving like a ghost among crates and abandoned machinery. He could hear the girl's small breathing behind him, steady but nervous, reminding him why he could not fail. He reached the clinic's back door, a narrow entrance that few noticed. The door was old and creaked when he pushed it open. His heart pounded as he slipped inside, moving silently down the sterile, white hallway. Rows of shelves held vials, packs and machines, sterile and shining under the lights. The human found the section with the painkillers, carefully scanning for what he needed. He could feel the weight of danger pressing on him with every step. Suddenly, footsteps echoed in the hallway. Quick and sharp, the human froze, crouching low behind a tall shelf, watching as a nurse passed, muttering to herself. Oblivious to the intruder, he waited for her to disappear, then grabbed the packs he needed, tucking them under his jacket. The human's hands shook slightly, but he kept his focus, knowing the girl's life depended on him. As he left the clinic, he sensed movement behind the door. Someone had noticed something. He ducked into the shadows, heart racing, his mind calculating every possible escape route. Back in the alley, the girl was waiting, tense but still trusting. She hugged the new packs of medicine, a tiny smile breaking through her fear. You really did this for me?" she whispered, her voice trembling with awe. The human nodded, feeling a warmth he had not felt in a long time. Helping her had been dangerous, yes, but seeing her safe made every risk worth it. He realized that sometimes doing the right thing was never simple. It was always risky. Together, they moved deeper into the quiet streets, the girl clutching her toy and medicine, and the human planning their next steps. The city was alive yet full of hidden dangers, and they had only just begun their journey. Somewhere in the shadows, eyes followed, silent but sharp. The human could feel it, and he knew that danger was not gone. It was waiting, watching, and ready to strike, but for now, they had each other. And in that small alley, hope began to grow, fragile but real, and the human made another silent promise to protect the girl no matter what the cost. The dangerous move. The night air was cold as the human and the small alien girl moved through the narrow back streets of the city. Shadows danced on the walls, flickering from the neon signs above. The girl held her toy tightly, her small hands trembling. But she stayed close to the human, trusting him completely. He glanced around, alert for any movement, knowing that some of the watchers from the market might be following them. Every shadow could hide a threat. Every distant sound made his heart race. "Are we safe now?" the girl asked quietly, her voice almost a whisper. She looked up at him, eyes wide and fearful yet filled with hope. "Not completely," he admitted, "but we are safer than before, just a little more patience, and we can get the rest of the medicine safely." He knew it was risky, but helping her was worth every danger. They reached a small storage building near the edge of the market, a place the human had noticed earlier. It was dimly lit, filled with crates and discarded equipment. He paused, listening carefully for any sign of others. "Stay close to me," he whispered, and the girl nodded, gripping his hand. The human moved forward, using the crates as cover, every step slow and deliberate, his eyes scanning for watchers. He reached a small window into the back of the clinic, just big enough to slip through carefully. He opened it and climbed inside. the cold metal frame pressing against his skin. His heart pounded, every sound amplified in the quiet room. Inside, the shelves were stacked with vials, packs and medical supplies sterile and untouched. He quickly located the painkillers. Scanning for the exact type she needed, his hands moved with precision. Yet he could not shake the fear of being caught. Suddenly, a shadow moved at the doorway. Someone was entering the room, their steps cautious but deliberate. The human ducked behind a shelf, holding his breath. The packs of medicine clutched tightly to his chest. A guard or nurse? He wondered, his mind racing. The figure moved past him, muttering something about a missing keycard, oblivious to the human hiding in the room. He exhaled slowly, relief flooding through him. With the path clear, he grabbed extra packs, knowing they might need more than just today's medicine. Every second counted, and he could feel the weight of responsibility pressing on him. When he climbed back through the window, the girl was waiting, her eyes wide and hopeful. "Did you get it?" she asked, voice trembling. "Yes," he said, handing her the packs carefully. "This will help you feel better for now. And tomorrow too." She hugged them close, tears streaming down her face. "Thank you. Thank you so much," she whispered. The human smiled gently, feeling something he had never expected: pride, relief, and a deep connection to this small alien girl. He realized that courage was not just about strength, but about the choice to do what was right. Even when it was dangerous, as they left the storage building, the human sensed movement in the shadows. Someone was watching them again, silent and patient, waiting for a chance. He tightened his grip on the girl's hand, determination blazing in his eyes. "We have to keep moving," he said quietly. "No matter what." The girl nodded, her trust in him unwavering. Together, they moved forward into the dark streets, the danger unseen but ever present, and somewhere in the distance a faint sound of pursuit echoed, reminding them that their journey was far from over. But for now they had medicine. They had hope, and most importantly, they had each other. The connection. The alley where they had hidden was quiet now, the hum of the city far away. The alien girl sat on a crate, hugging her toy and the packs of medicine close to her chest. Her small shoulders shook as she tried to calm herself, still scared but slowly feeling safe. The human crouched beside her, keeping his eyes on the shadows, watching for any sign of danger. "You did really well back there," he said gently. "You were very brave." The girl looked up at him, a faint smile flickering across her face, unsure if she could trust this stranger. "I was scared," she admitted quietly. "I thought no one would help me." Her voice was soft, almost a whisper but filled with honesty, and the human could see the pain in her eyes, the loneliness she carried. He nodded, understanding her fear more than she could know. "I know," he said, "but you didn't have to face it alone. And you won't anymore, I promise." The girl's tiny hand touched his for a moment, a gesture of trust, and he felt a connection forming, something he hadn't expected in this cold, crowded city. As they sat together, she began to tell him her story, haltingly at first. "My family, they are gone," she said, tears welling up. "I tried to trade my toy to get medicine, but no one cared. Everyone ignored me." The human listened quietly, letting her speak, understanding the depth of her suffering. He realized how cruel the world could be to someone so small and fragile. Yet even in the middle of that cruelty, he could see her spirit, strong and unbroken, determined to survive. It made him respect her even more, and he felt a sense of responsibility he could not ignore. The human shared a little about himself too, carefully, revealing his life without overwhelming her. He wanted her to see that she was not alone, that some humans could be kind, brave, and caring. The girl listened intently, her eyes brightening slightly with each word, learning to trust him. Suddenly, a faint noise came from the alley entrance. A shadow moved closer, quick and careful. The human stiffened, instincts alert. Someone was following them again, watching. Waiting for a chance to intervene, he stood slowly, placing himself between the girl and the approaching figure. "Stay close to me," he whispered, and she pressed against his side, gripping his arm, ready to follow his lead. The figure emerged, a young alien merchant. Curious but not immediately hostile, he stopped a few steps away, eyes darting between the human and the girl, suspicion written clearly on his face. "I saw you taking something from the clinic," he said cautiously, voice low. "What are you doing here?" The human stayed calm, keeping his tone even. "She was very sick," he said. "She needed medicine, and I helped her." The girl's hand tightened on the toy, showing her courage, and the human could see the merchant's expression soften slightly, maybe realizing the truth. For a moment, tension filled the alley. Then the merchant nodded slowly, as if deciding not to interfere. He turned and disappeared into the shadows, leaving the human and the girl alone once more. The human exhaled, relief washing over him, and he knelt beside the girl again. "It's okay," he said. "We're still safe. For now." She looked up at him, eyes wide with trust and wonder, and in that small moment, a bond formed that could not be broken. Together they rose, ready to continue their journey, the girl holding her toy and medicine close, and the human determined to protect her no matter what dangers lay ahead. The confrontation, the city streets were quiet now, but the human could feel eyes watching them. Always waiting, always alert. He held the alien girl's hand tightly, keeping her close as they moved through the dark alleys. Every sound made him tense, every shadow looked like a threat. The girl clutched her toy and the packs of medicine, trying to stay brave, but the fear in her eyes was clear. "Are they following us?" she whispered, her voice small and trembling. The human shook his head slightly. "Maybe, but we will be ready," he said calmly, forcing confidence into his tone. They turned a corner and froze. A group of alien guards blocked the narrow path ahead, their weapons gleaming under the dim light. The human's heart raced, but he did not panic. He knew he had to protect the girl, no matter the cost. The leader of the guards stepped forward, eyes narrowing. "That girl belongs to the city," he said sharply. "She has no right to wander, and you human are breaking the law." The human took a deep breath, assessing the situation, looking for any way to outsmart them. He stepped slightly in front of the girl, shielding her with his body. "She is sick," he said firmly. "I am only helping her." "Nothing more," the leader laughed, a harsh sound that echoed in the alley. "Helping? You steal medicine for her? That is defiance, not help." The human's mind raced. Thinking fast, every option seemed dangerous, but leaving the girl was not one of them. He could see her trembling behind him, her small hands clutching her toy like it could protect her. Without warning, he made a move, grabbing a loose crate nearby and sliding it across the alley, creating a small barrier. The guards hesitated, caught off guard by his sudden action, and the human seized the moment, grabbing the girl's hand and running toward a side passage. The guard shouted, running after them, but the human led the girl through narrow corridors only he knew, twisting and turning, dodging obstacles, and using every shadow for cover. The girl held tightly, her small body pressed against his, trusting him completely. They reached a small abandoned building. Hidden from the main streets, the human pushed the door open, letting them slip inside, breathing heavily. Heart pounding, they were safe, at least for a moment. But the sound of guards searching nearby reminded him that danger was still close. The girl looked up at him, fear and admiration in her eyes. "You saved me," she whispered, almost in awe. The human smiled slightly, feeling a strange warmth in his chest. "We saved each other," he said. "You are braver than anyone I know." As they caught their breath, the human thought about their next move. They could not stay in the abandoned building forever. The guards would search every corner eventually, and the city was far from safe. The girl touched his arm gently. "Will they come back?" she asked, her voice small and fragile. The human nodded slowly. "Probably, but we will be ready, I promise. I won't let anything happen to you. Outside." The shadows shifted, silent but watchful. The human could sense that their journey was far from over, and that the real danger was only beginning. But he also knew that together, he and the girl could face whatever came. They prepared themselves to move again, hearts racing, minds alert, holding on to hope and trust. For in the darkest corners of the city, courage and compassion could be the only weapons strong enough to survive. The unthinkable choice. The narrow alleys of the market grew quieter as the human led the small alien girl away from the crowded stalls. Her little feet stumbled over uneven tiles, and every so often she glanced nervously over her shoulder, as if expecting someone to appear and snatch her away. The human kept his hand steady around hers, trying to give her a sense of safety. "Don't worry," he whispered. "I'm not going to hurt you." The girl's eyes were wide with fear, yet something in his calm voice made her continue walking. As they turned a corner, she finally spoke, her voice small and shaky. I just wanted medicine. For my pain." The human nodded, listening carefully, sensing the weight of her words. "I know," he said softly. "I want to help you." She looked down at her hands. gripping the worn toy tightly again. "I don't have anything else." "This is all I own," she said, tears rolling down her cheeks. "I thought maybe they would help if I gave it." The human's chest tightened. He realized how desperate she must be to offer her only treasure for something she needed to survive. He glanced around, noticing the quiet tension in the alley. A few shadowy figures were watching them from a distance, merchants and passers-by who had seen the little girl leave. Their stares were curious, suspicious, some even hostile, and he knew that helping her openly could bring trouble. But he could not leave her here, not when she was so small, so vulnerable and in so much pain. The human's mind raced, thinking of a plan, any plan that could get her medicine safely. Without thinking of the risks, he made a choice most would call unthinkable. He led her to a hidden passage behind a market stall, a narrow space filled with crates and old equipment. "Stay here for a moment," he said. "I have a way to get you medicine." The girl nodded, uncertain, her trust fragile but growing. The human slipped into the shadows, moving carefully toward the back entrance of the clinic. It was dangerous, he knew. If anyone caught him, he could face punishment. But he felt no fear stronger than his desire to help her. Inside the clinic, the shelves were stacked with vials and packs of medicine, sterile and untouched. The human quickly scanned the room, looking for the painkillers she needed. His heart pounded with each step, knowing that one wrong move could ruin everything. He grabbed a small pack, tucking it under his jacket, and then heard footsteps approaching. Someone was coming, someone who should not have been there. He froze, his mind racing, calculating his next move. A nurse rounded the corner, frowning at the unusual visitor. The human acted fast, ducking behind a large cabinet, holding his breath. The nurse walked past, oblivious, and the human sighed quietly, clutching the medicine tightly. Returning to the hidden alley, he handed the pack to the girl. "Here," he said. "This will help you feel better." Her eyes widened, hope and disbelief shining through. She hugged the pack to her chest. "Thank you. Thank you so much," she whispered. The human smiled gently, feeling a warmth he had never expected. Helping her was dangerous, yes, but seeing her trust, seeing her relief, it made every risk worth it. They stayed there for a few moments, hidden from the world. The girl clutching her medicine and toy, and the human planning their next steps, somewhere deep inside. Both of them knew that their journey had just begun, and that danger was waiting. But for now, the girl was safe, and the human had made the choice that no one else had dared. The unthinkable choice to risk everything for a small, fragile life. The hook in discovery. The market on planet Zorath was always loud and crowded, with aliens of every shape and color moving through the narrow streets, merchants shouting their prices and strange smells mixing in the air. Among the chaos, a human walked carefully, observing the crowd, his eyes scanning for something unusual. That's when he saw her, a small alien girl, no more than 7 cycles old, crouched beside a dim corner. Her eyes red and wet from crying, her tiny hands clutched a ragged toy, a little mechanical creature that looked old and broken, yet it seemed the most precious thing she owned. She was trying to barter it, offering the toy to a gruff alien clerk in exchange for something she needed more than anything else. "Painkillers," the girl whispered, her voice trembling. But the clerk barely looked at her, waving her away. "We don't trade for scraps," he said coldly, not even bothering to hide his disgust. The human felt a pang in his chest. Something inside him stirred as he watched her plead. Other aliens walked past, busy with their own problems, ignoring the girl. Some even sneered, laughing at her desperation. But the human could not look away. He felt drawn to her. He had to know why she was here alone, why no one would help. He stepped closer, careful not to startle her. "Hey," he said gently, "do you need help?" The girl froze, her large eyes darting to him, filled with fear, mistrust, and a faint hope. I need medicine," she said softly, "but I have nothing left to give." She held the toy tighter, as if it could somehow protect her. The human crouched down to her level, keeping his hands visible so she would not be afraid. "It's okay, I won't take your toy," he said. "I just want to help you." The girl hesitated, but her pain was clear. She nodded slightly, still wary, still trembling. He looked around the market, noticing how cold the crowd was, how no one seemed to care about a small child in need. The human's mind raced. He knew helping her openly could cause trouble, yet leaving her here was impossible. He made a silent promise to himself. He would do something for her, even if it was dangerous. As he extended a hand toward her, the girl's eyes filled with tears again. She seemed unsure, afraid that trust could hurt her. But something in the human's calm voice and kind eyes made her step closer. Slowly, she placed the toy on the ground, a small gesture that showed she was ready to accept help. The human picked it up carefully, holding it as a sign of respect, then handed her a small pack of water and rations he had, just to ease her suffering. "We'll figure out the rest," he said quietly. "I promise." The girl looked at him with a mixture of relief and confusion, wondering why a stranger would care. Suddenly a shadow fell across them, someone watching. Someone who should not have been there. The girl stiffened and the human's heart raced. The market, full of life and noise, suddenly felt dangerous, and he realized that helping her might bring more trouble than he imagined. But he could not walk away, not now. Not when a small life depended on him. The human took a deep breath, holding the girl's gaze. "Come with me," he said firmly, and she nodded, gripping his hand carefully. Their journey had begun, and already the unknown waited around the corner. The unthinkable ending, the abandoned building, was quiet. But the human knew they could not stay for long. The alien girl sat on the floor, holding her toy and the packs of medicine, her eyes wide, still filled with fear, yet slowly trusting the human who had risked everything for her. He knelt beside her, looking into her eyes. "We need to move," he said softly. "There is still danger out there, but we will find a safe place for you." The girl nodded, clutching his hand tightly, her small fingers trembling. Stepping out into the night, the human led her through hidden alleys and quiet streets, avoiding the guards and watchers who might still be searching for them. The city felt alive, but every shadow and distant sound reminded him that one wrong move could put them in danger. As they walked, the girl finally spoke, her voice barely above a whisper. "Why are you helping me?" she asked, her large eyes full of curiosity and wonder. The human paused, thinking carefully. "Because no one deserves to be alone and hurt," he said, "and because you are brave. Even when the world seems cruel." They reached a small abandoned park on the edge of the city, overgrown with strange alien plants softly glowing in the night. The human found a bench and sat down. Motioning for the girl to sit beside him, she hugged her toy, still cautious but beginning to feel a small sense of safety. He handed her a pack of medicine. "This will help with the pain for now," he said, "but we need to make sure you have long-term help." The girl looked at him, confusion and hope battling in her eyes. "Will you stay with me?" she asked quietly. The human felt a warmth in his chest he had not expected. Protecting her had become more than just duty. It was now personal. "I will," he said firmly. "I will not leave you no matter what." The girl smiled faintly, the first real smile he had seen since meeting her, and a sense of hope began to bloom in the distance. Faint lights moved, guards searching, watchers observing, but the human felt a new confidence. He had done the unthinkable, risking his own safety to protect a small, fragile life, and that choice gave him courage he had never known. The girl leaned against him, her small body relaxing, the first sign of trust and comfort. He realized that this bond, fragile and new, was now unbreakable, and that together they could face whatever challenges lay ahead. Suddenly a soft hum echoed through the park, the sound of a vehicle approaching, but this time, it was not danger. It was a small hovercraft, sent by a kind alien healer, who had heard of the girl's situation. The human breathed a sigh of relief, knowing they were not alone. The healer stepped out, smiling kindly. "We heard about your bravery," they said to the human, "and we will help her now safely." The girl's eyes shone with hope, and she hugged her toy tightly. Feeling that her life could change, the human stood, watching them with a mixture of pride and relief. He had done something unthinkable, defying danger, defying the rules, and choosing compassion over fear in that moment. He understood that the smallest acts of courage could change lives forever. As the healer led the girl away to safety, she waved at him, her smile radiant and full of trust. The human watched her go, knowing he had made a difference. And that humanity, his courage, kindness, and bravery, was a force stronger than any fear or threat. And in the quiet of the night, under the glow of alien lights, the human stood alone yet not lonely, feeling the unbreakable bond of compassion and hope he had created, knowing that even in a cruel world, one brave choice could change everything.